Hello. Freedom is not enough. I'm sorry I'm putting this video up so late, but I really don't have no excuse. This has been kind of zoning out. Making videos for both channels now. Um, the other channel is just kind of basic stuff. I try to use tools to stay sane. And as you know, this one's mostly academics. Where were we? Okay. I think we're down here. Dealing with Moynihan and Nixon. Okay. All right. Moynihan, who continued to stay abreast of scholarship and developments concerning black family life, concentrated his efforts in early 1969 on securing one cherished goal: welfare reform. Indeed, while at Harvard, he had taken time to serve on a poverty task force for Mayor John Lindsay of New York City and to act as a consultant concerning welfare issues to Governor Nelson Rockefeller of New York. As earlier, he favored creation of a comprehensive but easily administered system of family allowances. These assisting all families with children, whether rich or poor, would not diminish the incentives of recipients to seek employment. But he knew that any such plan would face heavy opposition, mainly from conservatives, who would rail at the cost, and who would maintain, as they had in the past, that it would lead to higher birth rates among the poor. That sounds like a universal basic income. Let me read that again. He favored creation of a comprehensive but easily administered system of family allowances, these assisting all families with children, whether rich or poor. UBI. UBI's been around all the time. Now, I want to say, I read this book called Regulating the Poor. And what they said was because black people didn't get our share of the New Deal money, and black people sued the government, and it was going on for decades and decades. And according to that book, when we finally won, they rolled it over in the 1970s. They rolled our money into the welfare system. So we never still got it. It's still, because as you know, there's more white people on welfare than black, or at least there used to be. So our money got rolled back into a general fund again, never like straight to us. And they made us feel ashamed to even seek welfare, so that we was ashamed to get the money that was owed us. That's the kind of systemic, institutional, psychological warfare that you're under. Your parents don't teach you this. And they will deny it if you go tell them today. But I'm giving you primary sources. That's why I read from sources. All these people get on and say their opinions and all that, and I know they've read the same books, but it's important to you to know where this stuff comes from. So that's why I show you the books, I show you the documentation. Argue with this, don't argue with us. But since the early 1960s, Moynihan had continued to argue that some sort of fundamental reform of what he called welfare mess in the United States must be undertaken. This meant overhaul of aid to families with dependent children, AFDC, which was continuing to grow rapidly. As earlier, the size of AFDC benefits varied enormously, with recipients in poorer states, especially in the South, receiving far smaller welfare payments than those in wealthier and more liberal urban states of the North. Even more loudly than earlier, city leaders were complaining that hordes of poor people, many of them black, were abandoning the South to take advantage of higher benefits in the North. These migrations, the critics added, were greatly expanding the roles and costs to taxpayers. They weren't going to take advantage of situation in the North. They were fleeing the Klan and lynching and burning down churches and beating and the cop killings that you see and everybody's getting upset about, they've been living with that in the South since the beginning of time. And so I guess they look at it and be like, well, duh, we've been going through that forever. And y'all make fun of us and look down on us, but we've been going through that forever. I'm sure that's what they're saying. That's what I would say. Let me not put words in their mouth. That's what I would say. Because that's what I say when I grew up in the crack era where they were destroying black people on a daily basis. And I don't remember as many cop killings, but I remember a lot of violence and gunplay and death. But they've been beating our ass for a long time. So when I see beatings and murders, I'm not surprised. And of course, things don't ever stay the same. They either get better or worse. And we've done nothing to make things better for anybody in this society. So things are just getting worse. And time alone doesn't heal anything. You have to act in time. Time just flows. Conservatives, including many white working class Americans, also continue to charge the AFDC offered perverse incentives, coddling welfare mothers who thereby refused to look for work and who bore one illegitimate child after another. Experts then, as earlier, retorted accurately that the AFDC probably had only a small impact on the rise of non-marital childbearing. Still, the critics intensified their assaults, many of which fanned an often nasty backlash against the behavior of low-class black men and women. Many liberals, too, were demanding an overhaul of AFDC by 1969. They complained not only about the state-by-state variations in aid, but also, as they had in the past, about benefits that fell short of meeting the needs of families who received them. This was true not only in the South, but also in the higher benefited states of the North, where the cost of living were much greater. Liberals also bemoaned the fact that many states denied aid to needy families with two unemployed parents, thereby creating the incentive for fathers to desert the home so that mothers and children might become eligible for assistance. Reform of the system, liberals insisted, must at least provide better and more uniform benefits and cover two parents as well as one parent family in need. And that's what happened. Fathers didn't flee so that women could get it. They needed the money, and the welfare system said, we won't give it to you if that man is there. Right? They make it seem like we were scheming to get it, but in actuality, they were forcing the men out. That's why Moynihan said, no, you have to give to the family. But we know everybody throws away black men. I understand that very personally. As they varied criticisms indicated, welfare had come under widespread attack by the time Nixon took office. Many who were demanding changes in the system included not only liberals, but also conservative economists Milton Friedman and a number of business leaders had begun by that time to support various negative income tax or guaranteed income proposals. Though these were alike in seeking establishment of government entitlements that would guarantee families, or at least families with children at home, a minimum annual income, Moynihan did not at first call for such a guarantee, which until April 1969 he thought the administration would not support. But he did urge Nixon to back wholesale reform. The system, he wrote the president in January, destroys those who receive it and corrupts those who dispense it. The United States, he said, should move away from a service strategy dealing with the problems of social inequality toward an income strategy. A services strategy, he added, was one feeding the sparrows by feeding the horses. An income strategy is something quite different. It begins with the assumption that what the poor and near poor lack most is money. There's a guy who's making videos, and I love his videos, about New York City, about businesses being robbed, and because New York doesn't want to punish criminals. They don't want to punish criminals because if you steal something under $1,000, it's a misdemeanor, and he's going on and on about you want to put criminals in jail. And I write in the comments, I used to write in the comments, but jail costs $300,000 per person. So why would the city spend that much money for you stealing that money? And even when the stores lock all their products down and people can't steal, they don't have any money. So if they're not stealing, the store's still gonna close. The stores are gonna close because money's not flowing. All the money's at the top. It's not flowing. It's not flowing through the society. Right? And social services is okay in New York City. They give you housing vouchers and things, but it still doesn't flow. It takes 9 months to do everything, which is crazy because it's automated. So if you receive these things, you do it on the computer, on your mobile device, automated, and you do that in like 24 hours, 48 hours, and it takes 9 months to do the rest when it comes to vouchers and things like that. Now, when it comes to money and food money, that comes right away as soon as you fill out the thing. But when it comes to the housing voucher system, I mean, you put your paperwork in and you don't hear nothing. Nothing. People quit. You don't hear nothing. Then you try to inquire and find out. I was emailing somebody, and this was actually not a social service. This was actually private industry. My management company that runs this building. They have a $4,000 error on my rent. Been trying to fix for 2 years. I talked to one of those women on the phone, and she was supposed to do it, and I'm emailing this woman. Then I called back the office and said, what's going on? Oh, that person don't work here no more. So I said, so nobody picked up her work? I mean, so I had to do everything all over again. And they still haven't fixed it. I'm going into 2 years. I've tried to contact lawyers. I've tried to contact ombudsman. I've tried to contact, legal aid services. Nothing. You can't get no help against these real estate management companies. They're running the place, and they may be Mayor Adams' undoing. We'll see. Until next time, please be safe. Hit the links. Freedom is not enough. The Moynihan Report. And America's struggle over the black family life. James T. Patterson. Good book. And use your public library and support it. And when it has programs, try to sign up if you have time. That helps them get funding. So that's it. I'm learning actually sign language at one now. Amazing class, free. Don't get a certificate or anything, but I'm learning a lot of stuff. So support your local library, your public library, and try to stay safe. Try to take care, and that's it. That's it. And I hope everyone that's going through whatever climate change is throwing at us, I hope that you're safe, and I hope that you survive it.